Tisikwa, Karabarabas, Nuwachi, Iyo, Tisikwa, Kwanigi.
It is a story at the heart of America. One richer and more surprising than we've been told. American Experience presents a story that spans 300 years and a vast continent.
The greatest thing a person can have is the power. Beneguzzi, it's scary.
It is a story of hope, courage, and survival.
We were about to be obliterated culturally. Our spiritual way of life, our entire way of life was about to be stamped out.
Every tribe in this country has a time of horror, absolute horror, when they were confronted by this invader.
What we did to the southeastern Indians, it's ethnic cleansing.
It was done to them, so they did it back. But better.
Whatever means and manner we could, since the Europeans arrived here, we've had to fight for our survival.
An epic history of America. Seen through native eyes. Too remarkable. Too inspiring to ever forget.
The Master of Life has appointed this place for us to light our fires. And here we shall remain.
Exclusive corporate funding for American Experience provided by Liberty Mutual. Major funding provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation. Funding for We Shall Remain provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Ford Foundation, the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, Calliopeia Foundation, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.
Almost nothing is known about the most iconic feast in American history, not even the date. It happened most likely in the late summer of 1621, a little less than a year after the Wampanoag saw a small group of strangers land on their shores. Half these strangers, men, women, and children, had died of disease, hunger, or exposure in their first winter on the unforgiving edge of North America. But by the next summer, with the help of the Wampanoag, the Pilgrims had taken a harvest sure to sustain the settlement through the next barren season. And they meant to celebrate their faith that God had smiled on their endeavor.
Fill up the bottle chair and fetch some more water.
Mind your step.
We should have this done in no time.
As the Thanksgiving began, a group of Wampanoag men, led by their chief, Massasoit, entered the Plymouth settlement. not entirely sure of the reception they'd get.
Sometimes the Pilgrims are saying, back off, and sometimes I think they bring the Wampanoags closer, depending on what circumstances are like. But this is a celebration of their survival, of their recognition that they probably wouldn't have survived without the assistance of these Indians. This is a time clearly when they're welcome.
The governor cannot man him to stay.
Massasoit and his men had not appeared empty-handed. They brought 5 fresh-killed deer, providing some of the victuals for a celebration that stretched over the next 3 days.
Musketeers, make ready! Musketeers, fire!
The Wampanoag and the Pilgrims were an unlikely match, but the two peoples were bound by what they shared, an urgent need for allies. The Pilgrims were completely alone in a new world, separated by thousands of miles of ocean from friends and family. The Wampanoag, badly weakened by rolling epidemics, lived in fear of rival tribes. That they found one another in 1621 looked like a boon to each.
The Thanksgiving celebration at Plymouth was certainly an unusual event. It's not something we see thereafter. It symbolizes where the relationship stood as of the fall of 1621.
I'm glad you're amused anyway. Oh, canta. Like it there, eh? Belly cheer. Try some of this, good one.
For the English, it establishes that they're going to be able to survive because of the Native Americans.
Some kind of gambling game.
There are strong personal relationships certainly going on among the leading political figures on each side, and for all we know, among other individuals as well.
Window, Pao Chow. Pao Chow. Pao Chow. Window. Window, Pao Chow.
Check. See? Up, up,
Hop, hop.
For those who followed the Pilgrims across the Atlantic, the first Thanksgiving would enter into national mythology, where it remains the bright opening chapter of the American creation story. For the Wampanoag and for Massasoit, the memory of that day would recede into darker places, shadowed by betrayal and loss.
It's as if you could take the storybook version of American history, the myth of the first Thanksgiving, and turn it entirely upside down. Here's this story that's sad, that's sinister, and finally is about cruelty and power.
Looking back, Massasoit would on one level have felt he was true to himself, but on another level he must have regretted what he'd done. He must have thought, what if we'd taken a different course of action in dealing with these people?
They lived in a place of privilege, at the edge of a world where every new day began, and they called themselves the Wampanoag. the people of the First Light.
Well, think about it. You're here, you are in the east, you see the sunrise. In relation to your world, to what you know, you are the people of the First Light. You are the Wampanoag.
Behind the Wampanoag, the sun's west-moving light slowly revealed 3,000 miles of human culture, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific.
Indian people shaped this continent. They established civilizations here, societies that had risen and in some cases fallen long before Europeans arrived. As you look across the continent at this time, Shawnees in the Ohio Valley are shaping that area, building their own societies. Cherokees in the southeast, Sioux in the western Great Lakes reaching out on the plains, Apaches on the southern plains and in the southwest. Everywhere across North America, there are communities and tribes and peoples whose histories are ongoing.
Walkish, you want the owner, owner. Kashpanashmuni. Nakis. Nakis, Mataiwuni.
The confederation of tribes that made up the Wampanoag was one small network section of the native web that spread across North America. The people of the First Light hugged the coast of a vast ocean. To the north were the people of the Big Hill, the Massachusetts. To the west and inland were the Nipmuc, the people of the fresh water. Then the Mohegan and Pequot, and the Narragansett.
Just think of this one big circle, and everyone speaking different dialects of an Algonquin language, but they were mutually intelligible. So we're all interrelating with each other, married, trading, sharing resources, using resources.
It was a community of communities, and they had intermeshed and had their own agendas, their own political problems, their own warfare, and their own trade. There was a rich sort of political interaction in this region.
Sometimes everyone gets along and sometimes they don't, but they resolve the conflicts. Sometimes the